Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
The number one selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Did you show up in Vienna in December?
Did you?
No, I couldn't, but did you? I need to know, it's important to me.
Why, if you didn't?
Well, did you? Oh, thank God you didn't.
Well, thank God you didn't.
God.
I mean, thank God I didn't and you didn't. I mean, one of us had showed up there alone,
I
then
know.
that would have sucked.
Hello and welcome to Unequal Sequel. My name is Dave and I'm one of the two hosts of this tender podcast.
And I'm Rich and I'm the other host of this tender podcast. That sounds creepy. Think of me as Tom to Dave's Jerry. I'm a cat and he's a psychopathic little mouse who's trying to kill me.
I think it's sometimes the other way around, but okay. The premise of Unequal Sequel is very simple. We ask our guests their best ever sequel, worst ever sequel, and finally their dream sequel.
And sometimes we drift off course and talk about other things, sometimes movies and sometimes life in general.
And sometimes we do drop big fat spoilers to maybe fill recent films or films you haven't seen. And if that happens, just pause it. Go and feed your pets, you know. I know you've got one of them, a dog or a cat or an emu. Go feed it. Because in today's episode, we are joined by Nathan Darcy Roberts.
Nathan is a brilliant stand-up comedian, screenwriter, actor, and of course podcaster, because everybody is these days. You might know Nathan from his brilliant writing work. He's done a few short films, but he's also written for one of my favourite series, Trying, on Apple TV. You might also know him for the There Will Be Film podcast, which he does with Heidi, one of our previous guests.
We're very excited to sit down with Nathan and chat all things sequels with him.
These are Nathan Darcy Roberts' Unequal Sequels. Enjoy.
What is the first sequel you remember seeing when you were young and getting excited about? You might have to think back.
I think the first sequel I was super excited about, it might be Return of Jafar.
Oh, okay.
Sequel to Aladdin.
Nice.
There's no shame in that. That has come up before.
I was super pumped for that because I think Jafar is the best Disney villain.
Right.
I think he's incredible. I think he's a fashion icon. He's cool. He's sassy. He almost wins, which is really cool.
Yeah.
He pulls a scepter, shoulder pads, cool hat, talking parrot. He's got it's the complete package.
Yeah. How old were you with that when that came out then?
I was 27 years old. No, I must have been like 8. I want to say 8, 7-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, good age for that.
I remember that coming out and it was straight to video, straight to VHS at that point. So it didn't even go to the cinema and everything. And I remember just being excited that my mum had pre-ordered it from WH Smith's. And I got to go and pick it up one day after school and I couldn't wait to watch it. I was like, oh my God, Return to Jafar, Aladdin's so good, best Disney film ever. And then I watched it and I was like, they all sound slightly different. Mum, why do they sound different? Why is the genie sound different. Did you have the same feeling?
No, I think I was young enough to think it was good.
Oh, okay.
So I actually like really liked it. I was like, okay, I know they're different, but I'm still getting more Jafar. So I'm happy with it. Like, and there's one musical sequence in the middle, which I remember being really good. And it was only like a few years ago, I watched it probably for the first time since, childhood. And I was like, this is trash. It's so cheap. You've got no money. The voice Dan Castellaneta is not bringing it as the genie. It's a mess.
I have, because a lot of people rediscovered it when Disney Plus came out and picks it up again. And I haven't been brave enough to go back and rewatch it yet. I don't think I ever will, unless someone picks it as best, worst, or dream sequel. You must have been a big fan of Aladdin then, if that
Loved Aladdin. That's, I would say, top 3 Disney.
Yeah.
It's a perfect film. It's a perfect musical.
Yeah. What was that? Because you must have been far too young at that point, right? Or
when is that? Aladdin's probably like 92.
Yeah.
But that's when like you had every Disney film on VHS. So like you just, if you're growing up in the 90s, like you just had them all. They're almost like the release date doesn't even matter. Like it's all like on a plateau.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have Pinocchio on VHS. You're gonna have Dumbo on VHS.
And you're just gonna rinse them.
Doesn't matter if it came out in like 1957. You've got it. You can watch it. It was good times.
Is that where your film loving has started? Was it Aladdin and Return of Jafar?
Yeah, I think it was because I just was obsessed with watching films. And I had an uncle who, whenever I went to visit, he had like a big video collection. So I would leave with like a crate of videos. So like that's how he like introduced me to sort of like more grown-up comedies, things like sort of Steve Martin comedies, things like that. To give me like all of Only Fools and Horses, Blackadder. He was the guy who took me to see like Star Wars for the first time.
Oh wow!
He like sort of took me on sort of started my film journey.
Yeah,
very early then.
The cool uncle.
Yeah, real early. Obsessed.
My uncle just had it seems when I was young, had the complete collection of Arnold Schwarzenegger films. And that's the only thing he owned. And I remember just always going around his house and just looking at the VHS like tapes and just admiring them. I was like, can I borrow that one? My dad's like, no, can't have that one. No. It wasn't years later until I started watching Predators and sort of like the Terminators and stuff. But yeah, so you've gone for Aladdin, Return of Jafar, Steve Martin films. What age was that, do you say?
I would say, I'd say maybe Steve Martin's probably, I think more Steve Martin, Mel Brooks stuff he'd give me. I think that's still probably like youngish, like 10-ish.
Wow.
Around 10, yeah, I'd be giving stuff, yeah.
So that was your cinematic awakening?
I think that's the first, I think I was still slumbering at that point. I think my awakening to like grown-up films happened later. I think that happened with Gladiator.
Right.
Because I was always terrified of violence. I was terrified of the idea of violence, or anything horror adjacent. I didn't want to see it. I just light stuff, comedies. That's all I wanted to see. And I think my mum's boss lent me Gladiator weirdly when I was like 13. Yeah, probably about 13, maybe younger. And I was like, oh, I'm fine with the violence in this. Let's open the floodgates. And I was like, let's get Reservoir Dogs. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. And just the ball went rolling from there. I was like, oh, I'm a desensitized little psychopath. I'm fine. I can handle it.
Oh, wow.
Me and Dave are both quite famously scaredy cats when it comes to like anything horror, anything kind of violent like that. We're both like, no.
Yeah, but that's us, that's us getting older. When I was young, like between the ages of 10
Oh, no,
and
I've
15,
always been like this. I've always hated horror. Yeah.
I watched a lot of horror films. I had like sleepovers and we watched like those early Peter Jackson films. We did.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all of them. I mean, Meet the Feebles as well when I was 14, pretty much. It was mad. We did like the Blob, The Thing, The Fly. We did it called like the night when all the films we watched, and I was like, oh, these are brilliant. And the older I'm getting, more terrified of them. And Bloods is now a thing, and jump scares.
Oh yeah.
Well, we went and saw Smile 2 Friday, me and Rich, and there's one bit that made me pretty much land on his lap.
Yeah, he literally jumped out of his seat. It was hilarious. And I'm not sure whether the people behind us were laughing at the film or you.
I think it would be me. I really think it was me. Because I made like a noise as well.
Oh, but that's what you want. That if you go to see a horror, you want the people. Being vocal. Like it makes it that's the experience you're like trying to that you can't get at home.
Yeah, we loved that one.
Yeah.
Did you? Were you a big like going to the blockbusters or your local video store to pick up films.
Massively. Obsessed with it. Obsessed with it. I had like one, it's just like it wasn't a Blockbuster, it was just one of those sort of off-brand video stores real near to me where you could, what was that? It was like £3 for like a main release or like £1.50 for old classics.
Oh, wow.
So it's way easier to like go and watch old films then because I can go watch like, Doctor Strangelove for £1.50. I've got that kind of money.
Yeah.
I didn't have £3.50 to play around with, but I've got £1.50. So that's how I like sort of would go through all the classics. But my roadblock was always 18s.
Right.
Because it meant I had to get my mum to get them for me.
Yeah.
And usually she'd be okay unless she had heard of it. Then it was a problem. So like I couldn't watch Boogie Nights. She had seen that, so that was impossible to see. But she did let me get out Irreversible because she didn't know what that was.
Fuck. Okay.
Which is what I was probably like 15 maybe when I saw that. And I remember I did get that at a Blockbuster, and the guy behind the counter was like, "Irreversible.
Are you sure?"
Wow. Okay. Okay. And my mum was just silent, and we got in the car, and she's like, "Why did he say that?" I had to be like, "Oh, it's just quite violent, apparently." Meanwhile, I'm just in my bedroom watching on a tiny television, being like, "I'm too young for this. I can't handle this." The guy was right.
I love that. It's like, I'm not grown up enough for this.
I mean, I find that traumatic now, and I'm nearly 40. It's just, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
How did you have to describe that to your mum then? Like, what's the storyline? Well, this woman goes for a walk.
It's just quite violent, high violent content. And then next thing, I'm 10 minutes in, and I'm like, I think I'm about to have a full-on panic attack. As like you're hearing like the air raid sirens, the camera's spinning around. Like I didn't think it was going to be this.
Oh my God. I'm surprised you moved past any film after that one, to be honest.
But I think that was a period where I was looking for like shocking films at that point. I think I on my sort of cinema journey, when you're doing all the big classics, horrors were the last ones. And once I sort of realized I could be okay with those, that's when I was kind of chasing the dragon a little bit. I wanted to do like David Lynch and things like that.
Oh wow.
So I remember when they showed The Exorcist on TV for the first time, I remember it was a big deal. It was on Channel 4.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember
first time. And I went to church at that point, and Sunday school. It was like an evangelical church, and there was like a special they took all the older kids aside and like, The Exorcist is on television this weekend. It is devilment. Do not let it into your house. So I was terrified of the idea of it. And we lost the remote. So I had to like change the channel like on the little NTL box.
Yeah.
And I was so afraid because it meant I had to go past Channel 4, which The Exorcist was on. I was that terrified that I didn't even want to see like a clip, like a still, because it might mean like the devil would come into the house. So eventually I did watch it for the first time. This is a couple of years later. I was like, okay, this is regarded as a classic. I feel like I have to see it.
Yeah.
So I recorded it and watched it in 10-minute increments before school. So I'd have all day to get over it if it was too much.
Brilliant.
Fucking hell.
I was such an awkward kid. If someone had told me you can't watch The Exorcist, it's the devil's work, I'd be like, I'm watching that now. I'm finding it and I'm going to watch it.
So what kind of a film watcher are you now? Do you still chase those kind of films? Are you like a franchise blockbuster kind of guy? Or are you a Curzony movie kind of viewer now? Or are you just, I'll take fucking anything?
Kind of anything, but more the scale of Curzon movie. Like franchise, I'm not really that interested unless, it breaks out and it's like, you must see this now. I've not seen much Marvel. I'm not really that interested in it, apart from like the big ones, I guess. And I just chase any movie that will make me feel something in the extremity, whether it's like, laughing, like crushed with like emotion, fear. I just want to feel something.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen The Substance yet?
No, not yet. We're not.
Because that was a big one this year. That was incredible. That's like you're squirming in your seat for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'd have to also really funny.
Properly psych myself up to go and watch that, I think.
It's weird with you, Rich, because you will watch like The Zone of Interest, which is horrific.
Yeah.
But you won't watch like body horror kind of thing.
I don't know why. I can't do like the worst kind of movie for me is like Hostel. I hate it. I can't watch that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But yeah, like anything. I like the more psychological stuff. I find that interesting. The body horror stuff, not only do I find just a bit grim, it also bores me after a little while. It's just kind of like become samey. Like Saw, I'm not that fussed about Saw movies.
Oh, we've had to watch a few of them.
We have had to watch a few of those, and they have nuggets of interesting stuff in them, but they're just, I don't know. I'm not into people getting mutilated.
It's got to have substance, and I think part the lazy pun, but a substance does have substance, and I think it's tonal shifting as well. Like I thought it was going to be gratuitous. So I was like, I don't really fancy this, but people are saying it's worth checking out. But it never felt like it was being grotesque to like titillate.
Okay,
it was all informing the story. It's all part of the character journey. Something like Hostel, where it's grand guignol gore just for the sake of titillating teenage boys, that I find kind of repulsive, and I don't want to watch people just be mutilated for the sake of it.
Yeah
There's nothing in that.
I'm with you there.
Saw, I think, became that, but I think Saw, the first movie, I only saw it when it came out, but that has a pretty strong story to bind it. I feel like the gore in that felt like it served a purpose. It was in the later ones where it's just, okay, let's see how insane we can go.
I agree with that. Yeah, and I want to see kind of substance, just to see Demi Moore being brilliant again, which is,
she's incredible.
Where has she been for all this time putting a performance like that? But anyway, that's another discussion for another time. Well, let's go on to the big question, which is what is your best ever sequel?
Best ever sequel, I'd have to say, I think it's Before Sunset.
Perfect.
And then we'll do an addendum of Midnight as well. But I think there's so many films I wanted to choose for this, the Godfather Part 2, Toy Story 2. And I think, most great sequels there, and elongation of the narrative that's been set up in the first one. But I think what separates Before Sunrise and, to some extent, well, to a great extent, Midnight, is that it both continues the narrative and recontextualizes everything that the first film was trying to say. Right. It puts it in completely new lens. It's, if you're watching Before Sunrise, in the mid-90s, it's just a, two-hander romance, two people walking throughout Vienna, and it's asking the question, are you a romantic or a cynic in terms of whether they get back together? When Sunset comes out, it becomes a film about youth, specifically.
Yeah.
And Sunset, this film about the disappointments of middle age and realizing you've gone in the wrong direction. And I think they complement each other so beautifully.
100%. Like, this is becoming one of the most popular picks for best sequel, and it's because it's the right answer. It's incredible, and I think that what these movies do is they perfectly sum up that kind of intense love affair in your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s, and how that's different in each of those kind of ages. You are more cynical, and you have made mistakes, and that's why it's so perfect for me, is that it really does grow. The movies grow as you would grow naturally as a person. I think they're wonderful. It's a wonderful trilogy.
Yeah. When did you discover this trilogy, especially Sunset? We should talk about more, and then we'll get onto the others.
Quite late. I think I watched them both at uni. So I went to uni, it's probably like 2008 or 9. I watched the first two. It was before Midnight was announced. So I just had them together. So I got like the thrill of like, oh fuck, they're coming back. They're going to do a third one. So I did a double bill, and Sunset just hit me like a train. I just think that ending is so powerful. And I revisited them quite recently. And I just think this idea of revisiting the what could have been is such a powerful idea. And I think it's what so few romantic films get to explore. I think the only other film I've seen that done well in is Yi by Edward Yang.
Right.
Have you seen a Chinese film? Not Chinese film, Thai film. Not Thai film, it's Taiwanese. Yeah, I just think it's beautiful. I just think this idea of the slow revelations of all the ways their lives have kind of let them down is what's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, you realize like he's married and is unhappy in his marriage, and he was hoping that she'd be there, and that he went and she didn't go. That's just devastating. It's like 80 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so brief.
So tight, isn't it, that film? It's just...
And you're aware of the clock. Like, the whole time your internal body clock's like, wait, it's probably been like 50 minutes. There's only like 30 minutes left. And like this dread sets in. You don't want it to leave.
Yeah.
But that's good as well, because that's kind of what your characters are feeling, because they've got a deadline, right? Like, he's supposed to be getting on a plane and going. So they've got a deadline they're working to. So I think that short kind of timeline of the movie really kind of helps you to feel what they're feeling. And the fact that you're essentially with them, like the camera is a character following them, and you're that person following them and being the voyeur of their conversation. I think you kind of feel involved in that. It's so special for a movie to make you feel that way.
Yeah. You say that you come back to them every once in a while. Have you felt yourself reacting differently to them the older you're getting and what goes on in your life and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think on my last rewatch, I had a bigger shift in my reaction to Before Midnight.
Yeah.
I think I only saw Before Midnight when it came out. It was like 2010. And I saw it at the BFI, and a lot of people found it really funny, which I didn't understand. Because I was like, this is killing me. My heart is breaking. I can't handle what I was like. The sun is dying. That's what I'm witnessing right now. People are laughing. But I think having lived a little bit more in life, whilst I do think Before Midnight still is devastating, I did see the humor more. It didn't feel as definitive. I felt like Before Midnight the first time around, I was like, oh, they're separating. Whereas now I'm like, this is part of communication. This is just what gets to a certain point in a relationship where you can't have that sort of childlike youthful romance all the time. It does become you do become world weary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's just a part of it. That's a part of growing up. It would be disingenuous to leave it in the same note that the other two ended up. I think at that point in your life, all you can hope for is a resigned optimism.
Yeah. Because like the older you get, marriage is great. Love my wife if she's listening. But more of like Sunset turns more into like a fairy tale kind of thing. And I've had some amazing dates with my wife. We had like very walking around a certain place for hours, just chatting, going in and out of bars and stuff. And it's such an amazing date. But once you get older, that stuff kind of starts happening, and you live together, whatever. And, you piss each other off, but you love each other equally. It's a magical, magical thing. Yeah. Sunset, have you ever done a walk like that? Have you ever been to Paris and thought, I'm going to do that?
No, I don't think I've ever. Wait, do you mean done the Sunset Walk, or had that like with a relationship?
I had that with a relationship. Let's go with that, because going to Paris and doing the walk is very specific.
Very specific. Like I'd hire a lady to come and be my Celine for the evening. Like I'm gonna invoice me for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
A tight 80 minutes.
We're gonna start at this bookshop. We're gonna go to have a bar. Gonna go on the boat ride. You fit a lot in 80 minutes, to be honest. But yeah.
It's like I'll be like dreading the end. You're going to be dying for it to end. Like, we constantly checking your watch.
Did you bring a guitar?
I will sing "Stairway to Heaven" to you. I have had that. Yeah, it was not a walk, but it was just that sort of the revisit.
Yeah,
but it was more of a closing of the book.
Oh, okay.
That's what my version of that was. Yeah, it wasn't what could happen now. It was more of a let's check in after all this time and end things.
Yeah, it's definitely
say the things that we never got to say at that point, but then give a bit of closure to that chapter.
I think that's the more realistic way that movie would go. I think I love how it works, but I think the more realistic way would be like they meet each other, they realise that actually they've moved on quite significantly since they last met each other, and there it is, that closing of the chapter. But movies don't have to be reality, do they? That's the beauty of movies.
That's the magic.
That's why we love them. But yeah.
Have you ever tried to make someone watch them that haven't watched them, and then you've had to describe them to get them to watch them?
No, last rewatch I watched with my partner, and I had the best way to reveal it, because we watched Before Sunrise. Again, essentially, like, if you don't like this, then
I imagine you were just looking at her a lot.
Yeah. Like, you are being judged, and she loved it, which is great.
Good.
In the end, I was like, there's another one. And so we watched that again, and it was incredible. And I was like, there's also another one. And we watched Midnight the following day, so I got to slowly reel them out.
Brilliant.
Amazing. I always have to ask the question about the sunsets and the midnights. Would you watch another one? Would you?
Yeah, I think if they did it, it would be with purpose.
Right.
I think it has to be a lot longer. I think if they did it, they'd have to be in their 60s.
Oh, wow.
Something.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it should be a kind of another age, because you stay in this kind of middle age bracket for a while. Like they're in their, I think they're in their 40s, aren't they? In Midnight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 40s, early 50s. I
feel like 40s, 50s feels very similar. I think 60s, you're moving into that kind of third age kind of thing. So yeah, I think it does need to be a bit more time.
I always wonder if they went to America or what on the end of Midnight. That's the big question of where that fourth film would be.
But I think it would have to be a location because the whole point is the whole franchise is like a travelogue.
Yes.
Like I don't want to see them just
sitting at home
around Minnesota.
No. It have to be another city somewhere. I don't know how they would end up at that city. And I hope they're still together, to be fair. It would break like you said, it would break my heart if they aren't together.
Isn't there talk of London in there as well? Like,
what, in Midnight?
Like they want to go. I'm sure we've talked about them ending up in London at some point as well. Like
that might be just been for our
it might
dream
just be
sequel.
something we've made up.
I think that'd be such a bleak location as well. Like Mikey's naked, walking around Soho.
I don't know. London can be quite magical in a Richard Curtis movie.
I was going to say, yeah, it depends if it's Richard Curtis London or actual London.
Yeah. So with Before Sunset, what's your favourite bit? There's not much in there.
I mean, the ending is the main. I think that may be top contender for maybe the greatest ending of all time.
Right.
It's just so beautiful. That final line was like, "You're going to miss your flight. I know." Fade out. It's perfect. Or when they're in a carriage together, and it's just a small moment where Selena's going to touch Jessie and she pulls back.
Yeah.
That is, that's incredible. I think those are my two moments. Those are the two moments that like my gut punches.
Yeah. I love the whole life. I love the beginning when he's trying to play it cool a lot when he first sees her and stuff. I was trying to rewatch it today, and he was just with his like giddy face, but it's like, play it cool, Trigger. Did you go to Did you go back to Vienna? No. And then you find out a few minutes later, it's like, yes, I did. I put posters up and stuff, and you didn't come back. Yeah, Rich, what about you? What's your favourite bit now?
Oh God, Dave, I love it all. I think it probably is the bit you've just described, where he says like, "No, I did go back." Like that kind of like, "No, I am that guy. I did go back."
Yeah.
And her kind of like, "Oh, I didn't think you would. That's why I didn't." Kind of. I like that conversation because it shows that they're not cynical yet. They're still not quite cynical yet. They've still got that bit of romance about the both of them. That especially Jessie, he did go back, and I think Celine wanted to, but talked herself out of it. And
so grandma got sick.
Oh, her grandma got sick.
She was going to go.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like
that's
the perfect excuse. Like her heart was there, but life got in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows they've still got that. That's where the spark's still there. That's where it's like, oh, hang on a minute, this could still happen. This is still a thing.
I just love that whole film. Their chemistry as well, Julia Delpy and Ethan Hawke. I think that should be studied in like acting classes, because that's just the whole film feels so natural. It feels like you are following this couple through the streets of Paris, and then once in a while you have to remind yourself, no, this is a film. They are acting. I'm still, and this might shock you, I still haven't seen the first one. So yeah, because I hadn't watched any of these until someone picked them. Someone picked Before Sunset as their best, and then someone picked Midnight and as a dream, basically, and someone else had just picked Before Sunset. I still haven't gone back and watched and see why they've fallen in love, and I don't feel like I need to. Do you think I need to?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
It's even a standalone. It's incredible film. I think that's the thing, because the other two are so great. It almost makes Before Sunrise seem like kind of slight. It's like, okay, I don't miss it, but it's so beautiful and so much fun.
Yeah, okay.
And you get to see how much they've changed as well, because they're young, and Ethan Hawke is very charismatic and likable, but he's also like a bit of a dick.
He's a bit of a dick. You're right.
Young, like 20 something is a bit of a cocky dick, and like that, those layers get peeled back over the course of the film. Like they really capture like what it's like, the various stages of your life.
Yeah. But I feel that's what Sunset's so good about, for me anyway, is that I love Sunset, and I will watch Sunrise, but I need to find a moment when it's a right moment to watch it, kind of thing, if that makes sense. But Sunset feels like because you got those few cutaways or whatever at the beginning, it works by itself for me. And I think that's down to the filmmaking and the acting and just how well it plays and the length. I love a short film. So when I found out it was 18 minutes, I was like, this is perfect. I've been to Paris. I've walked around it. Apart from the rats, it's very similar, like that. But yeah, like you said, he's such a dick. Even that bit at the beginning of the film when he's talking to the reporters or whatever and he's trying to just bullshit his way through it, basically. He feels like a bit of a dickish kind of guy. But yeah, I can see why you love it. Do you see yourself not loving it at any point? Is there anything that will shake that?
Oh no, I don't. I think that if that happened, something really terrible has happened. I think if I'm putting my Before Sunrise trilogy in the bin, then I'm doing it wearing like a MAGA hat. Something's happened. I've like been radicalized.
Do you have it on like Blu-ray and DVD or and stuff like that, or?
No, I don't have it on Blu-ray. I want to get the Criterion.
Yeah, me too.
The extras. I had it on DVD, but I've not got it Blu-ray yet.
Yeah, it's meant to be a good one, that.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Come to me. Focus Features invites you to succumb to the darkness.
Nosferatu.
From director Robert Eggers comes a masterpiece of horror.
He is coming.
This creature is a force more powerful than evil. It is death itself.
Nosferatu. Rated R. Under 17 nanometer without parent. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Special engagements in Dolby and IMAX.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We've got another little question before the worst sequel question. So this isn't the worst sequel, but what is the most disappointing sequel? So it doesn't even have to be a bad sequel, but it's one you've gone in high and you've come out low.
Oh, disappointing. Like something I really looked forward to.
Yeah. It can be
maybe
anything.
Do you know, I think maybe one of them, I think a big one was probably Trainspotting 2.
Okay, yeah.
I hate Trainspotting 2. Like with a passion. I really hate it. I hate that it exists.
It really divides people. It really does. We've had it picked for best sequel and worst sequel by people.
Your face changed from bubbly to
pure rage.
Rage. Can't wait to get to the other one. Okay, so I'm guessing you're a massive Trainspotting fan.
Love it. It's perfect.
It's great film.
It's a perfect film. Again, 90 minutes. So much is packed into it. It's an incredible adaptation. I love the book, but what they did with the book and how they condensed that really complex, like myriad narrative, kind of just collage of ideas into a cogent narrative is just perfection. It captured the zeitgeist. It is, kind of maybe the definitive film of the 90s, as far as like British cinema is concerned, that and Richard Curtis movies, like that's what Britain was at that point. And it has lost none of its power. It's so fun. It's so funny. And I read the book. I read Porno, the sort of, semi-sequel that Irvin Welsh wrote, which is okay. It's pretty good. But I just think that what Danny Boyle did with the sequel is it's just nothing. It's ugly. It's got no sense of humor. It's sluggish. I think also what he failed to do is it just feels out of touch. What that film should have been is like a Before Sunset. Like, let's check in with these characters and see how they relate to the modern zeitgeist. Like, I can't remember what year it came out. 2011-ish, maybe.
Well, the sequel, no, it's much later than that. It was almost like 2017, 2016, 2018, something like that.
2017.
I went to the press screening of it.
2017?
I went to the press screening of it, I can tell you that much.
But yeah, okay, even more so, then the film needs to be a reflection of like post-Brexit Britain. How do these characters operate at a point where England has gone through a massive, major seismic shift? And as a reflection of drug culture, well, drug culture now at that period in time is, cocaine. A lot of cocaine's had a big resurgence. That's what people are doing. It had to be, there should have been a communication between the characters and the environment they're in. And it wasn't. It was just a bunch of loosely connected sketches where Renton is dating a girl, a woman, and I think maybe the casting call for that role was, we're looking for the worst human actress, and they nailed it. They nailed it with the person they cast. It was devoid of anything. It was, garbage.
Were you...
Could not have been worse.
Yeah, when you were going into it and they announced that they were, because it was rumoured for years, wasn't it? They were going to try and put a T2 together. Shouldn't even call it T2. That made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
It's insane. Why? That's not only because of the Terminator thing, but there's like the soap or the candle shop.
Yeah.
Every time I see T2, I'm like, it's so confusing.
They even use the same colours. I think that's fine. Were you hopeful a little bit? Were you like the cast is coming back? Danny Boyle's coming back. I think, was it John Hodge was rewriting it and stuff? What were your feelings?
Yeah, I think the trailer looked pretty great as well. I'm pretty sure the first trailer released seemed pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think I was hopeful. I think reviews were kind of mixed. Some were saying it's crap, some were saying it's great. So I was like, okay, I don't know where this is going. Either way, I'm going in open. I'm not gonna go in with a blank slate, and I'm gonna judge the film on the merits of what it is. And I think within 10 minutes, I was like, I think I hate this. And it just got worse and worse as it continued. I hate that they both did heroin again.
Yeah.
Rented a sick boy with no consequences.
Yeah.
Because last time you showed me kicking heroin, he was strapped to a bed, seeing dead babies walk on the ceiling. And this time he does it and just goes back to business.
Yeah.
That's completely antithetical. Also, it does the thing which I really hate in movies, where it ends with a character writing a book about what you've just read.
Yeah.
It's so clumsy. It's so tacky.
It's Stephen King's favorite thing.
It's abysmal. I just think I did like a YouTube rabbit hole recently. Where I was like, is it as bad? Maybe was I just a bit butthurt at the time? So I just did a bunch of clips to see if it was as bad as I thought it was. And I was like, yeah, it still stinks.
It definitely doesn't have anywhere close to the impact of the first one. Even the soundtrack, the soundtrack of Trainspotting is absolutely iconic. It's perfect. I could not name you a song from T2. I just couldn't. There's nothing about it. It really does miss that mark. But there are people out there who really resonate with it. I think, was it Dominic Diamond we had?
Dominic Diamond loved it, yeah.
His best sequel, yeah.
Yeah, he's from Glasgow or wherever. He was like, that was my life or whatever, and he made him cry, I think, T2. And then we had a film critic on as well, Layla Latif, and she picked it as the worst. And I think we had these in the next week, these two people, one picked it as the best and some picked it as the worst. And we're like, okay, so it's definitely polarizing, and weirdly, each person gave me why they liked or didn't like it. And I was like, oh yeah, I agree with you. So I don't know where I sit on this film at all.
But I think Trainspotting sets it up. The reason it doesn't work, Trainspotting, when Sick Boy's talking about James Bond, Sean Connery, and say, at a certain point you get too old and you can't hack it anymore. And that comes to life in T2. They prove that point. They prove Sick Boy's theories. You get too old and you can't hack it anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
And you just called it T2, so you can throw up in your mouth as well. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, I went to the press screening of Trainspotting 2, and Danny Boyle did the introduction. He was there. He was very excited about it. I was very excited about it. And it's one of those films, I didn't hate it as much as you, but I came out of it and I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it. I mean, it definitely didn't have the magic as that first one, or the memorable set pieces, or anything mostly memorable out of it. The most thing I can remember about it now is when Begbie and Renton meet each other first times in the toilets. And I think that's the best scene.
That is the best scene, definitely. But that's not saying very much. Like, also you watch this movie and you kind of, like in Trainspotting, you're rooting for them. You know, apart from Begbie, you're kind of rooting for everybody. And you watch this movie and you're like, I hate you all.
They're so unlikable.
Don't like any of you. Like Spud, maybe. Like, but everyone else, just get in the bin. Like,
and even when you don't root for them, even when you don't root for Begbie, you still love when he's on screen. It still lights up every time he comes across. And there's that fight. I think is that the scene where Renton and Sick Boy have the fight in the pub.
Oh yeah,
and it's shot like an Edgar Wright movie. Like, this is just not right. I don't think it's not grounded in any way. There's a sort of like a fusion of kitchen sink realism and sort of like this Tarantino post cinema, like pop culture awareness in Trainspotting, and it married perfectly. In Trainspotting 2, it just didn't. There felt like there was no vision. And I have a theory of Danny Boyle where, like, Danny Boyle is best when he has no money. If you take away his budget, he gets really creative. But when you give him sort of carte blanche, I think it gets a bit clumsy, gets a bit muddy.
I think that's a problem as well with the story of Terminator 2. Trainspotting 2 is that, can you name the plot? What's going on in that movie?
Yeah. Impossible.
No. No.
They want to buy a pub. I think they're buying a pub.
Getting some land for something.
Yeah. Renton's been in Amsterdam for a bit.
He likes running.
Even the return of the Choose Life. Oh, no, actually, it's the bit that drove me insane is when he's saying to his girlfriend, like, oh, there's this thing we used to do.
Yeah.
And we used to say this thing about choose life. It's like, you've grounded it. You've ruined it.
Yeah.
You've said how Han Solo got his name. It's gross. You've ruined like the mystery. You showed how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
I hated that. That was a real like peeking behind the curtain and seeing the wizard as just a man.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well, now we got you pumped up. Let's move on. Let's move on to Nathan. What is your worst ever sequel?
The worst sequel, it may be recency bias. But I think the worst sequel is Joker Folie à Deux of all time.
You are not wrong.
I think it's fascinating. Truly, it's a really fascinating exercise in everyone in that film making the wrong decision. Every decision is wrong. And I don't even like Joker that much. I thought the original Joker was fine. It was fine. I see why people responded to it, but it was, it is... You're working with you're working. It's just Taxi Driver cheap. It's Taxi Driver. It's the Pepsi version of Taxi Driver. It's meh, but it's fine. This one was the fact that the last person I'd recommend Joker to would be a fan of Joker shows just how misguided they were. It's just a mess. It's a complete mess, and it does the opposite of what the before films do. In that, like, the existence of Joker 2 erases any possible affection you could have for Joker. Just ruins it. Now Joker's just the story of a guy who's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
It's just nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like,
it's a bit mad.
I just don't... What frustrated me most about Folie à Deux is every time I thought, oh, hang on, this might get interesting, it flipped to a shit song. Like, it wasn't like this. I don't mind a musical. I quite like a musical, but the songs have to mean something. They have to be part of the movie. And this was just like, oh, we'll just do a cutscene to a song. It'll get us out of this hole where we don't know where we're going with the plot. Like, it was nonsense.
Yeah.
Zero consequences. Like, there'll be a scene where it's in the courthouse. I think there's a big musical sequence, and he smashes the judge's head. So it's like, okay, so you get to show violence. You get to try and have your cake and eat it, but then you flash back to reality and it's totally inconsequential. There's zero cause and effect. Nothing is happening. It felt like being in a waiting room.
Yeah, it's like you've watched a Bollywood movie and completely misunderstood it. Like
100%.
Maybe that's what they're going for.
Spoilers for it, but the fact that it's not the only appeal, the entire USP of that franchise is that you're playing around with the idea of like, this is how the Joker was made.
Yeah.
And to erase that means, well, there is no reason for anyone to now watch either film. They're utterly meaningless.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, Arthur Fleck never felt like my Joker anyway, because the Joker's mad, but like really intelligent and really cunning. Yeah. And Arthur is not that, he's never that in either movie. He's unlucky and you feel sorry for him, but he's not clever. He's not that Joker. And I think that's obviously like spoilers for the end of the movie. He's not that Joker, but then just feel like, oh, well, I've wasted my time watching 2 fucking origin stories that aren't. Like, it's just rubbish.
It's insane. Yeah, because he has no motivation. He has no belief system, and that's the best thing about the Joker. When the character really works, is that they've got a belief system that they're trying to impose on the world.
Yeah.
But I think Joker could have worked. I think Joker 2 could have worked if they told that story. If it was the story of Arthur, some weirdo starts hanging around Arthur Fleck, they're spending time together, and you see that transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they have their cake and eat it too. I mean, they should have done an Alien thing. It should have been called Jokers. That's my pitch. So you're seeing
I'll take it.
Arthur Fleck get this like acolyte who then betrays him at the end, and then you're seeing how the baton is passed.
And they could have done that in the film. They could have done that in the prison, couldn't they? Instead of just
100%.
tacked it on at the end for that.
But they wasted
seconds.
the character because Arthur starts hanging out with another guy.
Yeah.
Who should have sort of filled in that like new Joker role. So there was just no consistency of vision. Like, I think the elements, what they were trying to do, I think could have worked. But they were just so flippant. It was a film fueled by ego, where they're like, the first one made $1 billion. I don't want any studio notes. We're not going to do screenings. We're not going to do test screenings.
Yeah.
We know it's going to work. Give us 4 times the original budget. And now it's just completely tanked.
I think they could have, it's going to go down in history. It's going to be studied in classes soon, like Joker 2 and what went wrong. When they going to turn tables back a little bit, so if you've seen Joker, you thought it was fine, and they announced a sequel, and you think, okay, well, that was going to happen because it made $1 billion. What did you think when they said it's going to be a musical?
I mean, it did fill me with optimism.
Okay.
I think you have bitten off more than you can chew. I think the idea, because his touchstone was Todd Phillips' touchstone. I think he said, "I'm inspired by the umbrellas of Cherbourg."
Right.
So I'm like,
classic.
Okay, I don't know if that's what the incels want, but sure, let's go for it. So I was like, but I was intrigued. I was like, okay, at least you're trying something new. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
And I think what I found interesting about that as a concept is that it could potentially play into the flamboyancy of the Joker character, which is what you want to see. I think the bit of Joker that I think really worked was the sequence on the talk show, where I was like, oh, this kind of feels familiar. This is kind of what this is what we're trying to see. This is what we're waiting for the entire time. This, flamboyant kind of camp villain dancing in the spotlight. So if you're going to introduce musical sequences, yeah, maybe that could work. Lady Gaga is
Harley.
I think she's great. Yeah, that
great.
It's an interesting direction. I didn't think it was just going to be Arthur Fleck hanging around smoking cigarettes in prison the entire time, daydreaming.
Yeah, making you feel even more sorry for him. And I think that's the thing. He just becomes more and more pathetic as you move through the movie. And I don't know. It's almost the opposite of what it should have been.
I feel like someone's had a joke and no one's in on it at the moment. Like, this is kind of their plan to make a big mega bomb. And they're like, ha, look at it. We made the movie we wanted to make and you guys were all suckered in. I'm like, well, I don't get it. And yeah, like when you sat down to watch it and started watching it, what were you thinking? Like, what were you hoping that film to be?
I was on its side for a while, for about 30 minutes. I was like, this is interesting.
Okay, cool.
I was like, I'll go with this. And it does, I think you get suckered in by the aesthetic. I think it's, it's shot well. I think the score is great. So I'm like, okay, you're doing something interesting. But then you find yourself, you're just still waiting and
There's
waiting.
Something there, wasn't there, behind you, like, going, this is not going the way you think it was going to go.
There's no plot machination. There's no plot development. No one's changed. Nothing's actually. I'll tell you the reason. The exact moment I realized it wasn't going to work. The exact moment I realized it wasn't going to work was when they introduced Harley Quinn.
All right.
Because there was no chemistry between them. There's that shot that he passes the at the singing class, and they share eye contact.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing. There's nothing there. I don't buy anything. It's like, okay,
and she's
if I can't invest in this,
using him all the way through. Like, there's no. So I don't want to harp on about comic books and stuff too much, but the Joker corrupts Harley, and I see that as, maybe that's interesting to twist it around that Harley corrupts the Joker, but she kind of even doesn't do that. She's just like, oh no, you're boring me, kind of like, I've played with you and now I'm bored. It just doesn't feel like, it's just all pointless. Just all feels pointless.
And too insular. I never got a sense of a wider world. Like they keep, also one of the biggest mistakes the film makes is they keep talking about this TV movie that's been made, and we never. Why are you showing us a cartoon to begin with, which has got nothing to do with anything? You're kind of just laying out the idea of this Jungian shadow play. Okay, cool. Let's put the subtext nice right up front before the film's begun. That should have been the TV movie. Because that gives us an insight into how the events of the first film have been perceived and co-opted in pop culture within this world. That would actually been world building instead of just a pointless stylistic diversion.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I think I get what they're trying to do with the cartoon. I do kind of understand. It's very on the nose, but I get they're kind of like, hey, lowest common denominator. Here's what split personalities looks like. That's kind of. Yeah, very on. But you're right. If they'd have shown clips from that TV movie, it would have helped along so much. It would have given it context.
How do you think we got to this though? Like, because Todd Phillips has made Hangover part 1, 2, and 3, and then War Dogs and stuff. And I know the Joker made $1 billion, but surely someone should have stepped in at some point and questioned it. I mean, apparently the idea came from a Joaquin Phoenix having a dream one night, and then he passed that along. I don't know how studio, like Warner Brothers, have cancelled other films, literally deleted them. How has this got made?
I just think they thought it was unstoppable. I just think they think like, it's the Joker. People are going to come out in droves. We took a big swing on Todd with the first movie. It paid off. So people just love the Joker. I mean, I think they thought it doesn't even matter if the film isn't good. People love the character so much that they'll go out and buy a ticket regardless. Even if it gets 1-star reviews, people will be like, screw it, critics are wrong. And they'll go out and see it regardless. I just don't think they figured how angry it would make people and how that anger would manifest.
Yeah.
And what I find really disappointing about that is like, what I feel I've noticed in the past few years is there's a real sense of celebration when a film does well. With like Oppenheimer, Barbie, people are really excited. It's like, oh, look how great these films are doing.
They want to go to the cinema, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. This is we're saving cinema. This is great. These films are like, are saving the industry. So when Todd Phillips does something like this, it's like revels in its failure. I'm like, well, this is completely against the grain. You're doing a disservice to the concept of cinema by getting people to not come out.
And
preach.
I mean, a stop clock is right like twice a day. So maybe the Joker was just happened to be that thing where it connected with people that time. And, then Todd Phillips went back to being the guy that made Road Trip, maybe that's his lane. And maybe he just happened to get lucky.
But even they made money. That's the thing. Like the Hangover sequels, they still made money. So I think they were like, regardless, even if it sucks, people will still go out and see it.
The budget's mad. Did you take anyone to go and see it with you?
No, I went alone.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd feel guilty bringing someone to see that. I went on like a midday screening, and it was pretty empty.
Right.
I saw Picture House Central and Screen 1.
Big
there
screen.
Must have been about like 30 people there.
Wow.
And this sense of, no one's being vocal with it, but I kept looking around and just seeing how people were responding. I kept seeing a lot of people, like partners, like checking in with each other. I mean, like, what's is this? You're singing again.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can hear the singing, right? That's not happening in my head.
Yeah. I'm not having like sort of like an out of body fugue state experience. Like this is still, it was that sort of silence as people are leaving the cinema. Like, I don't really know what to say right now. I'm just glad it's over, I guess.
My wife didn't know it was a musical because she's doesn't yet. So she was surprised when they started the singing, and then she was like, she leaned into me and went, "If they sing one more song," and they sang a few more songs. I think it turns out they sing like 30 times in that movie,
and it's oh my god! Apparently, creatively, they chose to sing badly. Like that's the whole thing was like, we're gonna because these characters can't sing, so we're gonna sing badly. I was like, oh God, really? You chose to do that? Why
get Gaga?
Yeah. Why get someone who can sing? Like, it's mad.
It's insane. I've only had that experience once before, and that was with Sweeney Todd, where people didn't know it was a musical, and people got real mad.
I mean, I nearly walked out. Like, I did know it was a musical going in, but my girlfriend at the time that I went to watch it with was like, "It's not like a musical. It's fine. There's only just a little bit of singing here and there," and then it was like literally I was like, "You, this is not good."
Johnny Depp can't sing in that either, right?
I really hate musicals where people can't sing. So like Rock of Ages, I can't watch. Like that.
Is that what done damage for you in musicals? Sorry,
yeah, I think so. I think for a long time I didn't like. I just swore off all musicals, and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I think people singing who are tone deaf, I just can't do it. And then I watched. Was it? I think it's Tick Tick Boom. And then I did a little bit of a Bollywood like kind of watched a lot of Bollywood movies, and I'm like, kind of love musicals now. I'm like kind of getting really into this. But I still stand by the fact you can ruin a musical by people that can't sing. And
100%.
Those songs have to be intrinsic to the plot. They have to have something to do with the movie. If it's just like Joker, where they're just singing for no reason, it just passes me by.
Yeah.
Or like displaying excellence. Like if you're watching like Singing in the Rain, you're like, well, this is just people who are excellent at their craft.
Yeah.
This is undeniable.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I've only watched
absolutely.
that recently for some reason, and I was like, oh, I get it. This is magical. It's
mind-blowing.
It's such a good film.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Amazon for all your gifting needs.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
What sequel seems like a bad idea, but you ended up liking? Now, normally with these, we go to franchises, but you said earlier, franchises aren't really a thing. So let's see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I'm not a big franchise guy.
Which might make it even easier if you really hated a Marvel film than the next one you really liked. Ragnarok.
But I didn't see any of the Thors. I've only seen Ragnarok.
Yeah, I thought you
would alone.
Leave it like that.
I think what's one which I can't.
Bonds.
No, not a big Bond guy. I think it's what I really liked, and I think I was surprised that I liked this franchise in any capacity. Was Howard and Kumar Go to Guantanamo Bay.
Okay, I didn't see that coming. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Solid sequel. I actually think both films are pretty great.
Okay.
There's 3 of them, isn't there?
There's 3 of them. Yeah, the third one's not that good.
Yeah, that's the Christmas one.
Yeah, I'm a big defender of both films. I think it's the kind of they're great stoner films, and I think they have genuinely incredible jokes in the margins.
Right.
They're two films where the main set pieces are often a little bit broad. They're a little bit tacky, like sort of like crass, like shit humor. But in the margins are a couple of lines and a couple of like just throwing moments that I think are incredible. And I think Howard and Kumar Go to White Castle is a film that shouldn't work in the first place. And the sequel to it that is still really funny. I think, yeah, also it shouldn't work, but it really does. And I saw it for the first time in very weird circumstances. I was at uni and I'd taken acid. And my friend was like, shall we go and see a film? I'm like, okay, what's on? I went to see Howard and Kumar Go to Guantanamo Bay, and we had a wonderful time.
I wonder how much of that was the film.
The options for film was either that or Speed Racer. I think.
Oh, that would also blow me.
Oh God!
I don't think I could have handled that. I think that would have actually like genuinely blown my mind. Like bleeding ears. I think I couldn't have handled Speed Racer.
I can't imagine Speed Racer on acid. Jesus Christ!
Have you watched this back after the acid trip visit, or are you just
holds up?
Oh, good.
Yeah, no,
Jerry,
I'm a staunch defender of both Howard and Kumar's. I think they're really, they've got moments that are genuinely incredibly funny.
See, I don't know if I've ever watched this one.
I've never seen either of them, so I don't know. I know who Harold and Kumar are, but I've never watched the movies
because they're kind of a conscious diversion of that kind of stupid bro-y humor, because it's like The Outcast, it's platforming to people of color for the first time in the sort of like for the first time in that sort of subgenre of buddy stoner comedy. And yeah, I would say Howard and Kumar Goes to White Castle has a 5-second scene which I would put in my top 10 comedy moments of all time.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to
a
go
5-second throwaway interstitial scene. But yeah, it's the jokes in the margins. So the big set pieces, yeah, they're pretty tacky. But just littered throughout are incredible moments.
And they're really good together, those two, aren't they? Is it John Chow and Kyle Penn?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, they're great. Really good chemistry.
Really good chemistry.
Neil Patrick
really
Harris
fun.
is really good.
That's what brought Neil Patrick Harris back for a while. Like before How I Met Your Mother, he was Doogie Howser, whatever it was. And then he was playing a riff on himself in that first film. Like he was just this drugged up, manic. I remember all that. Don't remember. So in the second one, I'm guessing they escape from Guantanamo Bay, right?
Yeah, they go to Amsterdam. It starts off with them in Amsterdam. They are arrested on the plane home for having a bomb that someone misidentifies as misidentifies as a bomb. They go to Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, then they escape and they're on the run. It's so stupid. It's ridiculous. The plot is so dumb. But yeah, it's great. Really good performance from Rob Corddry. He's in the second one.
Oh yeah. He's
great as the guy searching for them. It's great. Yeah, those are my guilty pleasures. Those are the hills I die on.
No, it's nice. A pick no one's picked. I love it.
I want to watch him now. I want to go and see him.
They're really fun.
We're doing for our next box set mentality, Rich, on another slice. Because there's 3 of them.
Yeah, we'll drop some acid and then we'll watch him.
The best way of watching it.
Mandatory.
Yeah, in honour of Nathan. Okay, let's move on to the last question, which is, what is your dream sequel?
Yeah, I think this is the hardest question because I would argue that no film, if it works, it should have a sequel. But I think the film that I think would work is The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
I think The Nice Guys, I revisited it recently, and I think it really holds up. I think it's really fun. And I think it's the kind of film that you don't see anymore, in that it's 2 A-listers just doing a little throwaway genre, neo-noir, where they're really cashing in on their star clout. They're like Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in that they're kind of doing what you're used to see Robert Redford and Paul Newman do.
Yeah.
That's great star vehicles. Ryan Gosling delivers an impeccable comedic performance. He's outstanding in that. Like his timing is on point. I don't know, there's that scene where he's like in the toilet and kicking the door.
Yeah,
the door
it's
shut.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's like Jim Carrey at his peak. That is him delivering. And I think, Shane Black, he knows what he's doing. He's a really good neo-noir writer. He's got a bunch of those in him. So I think the film didn't do very well, so that's why they didn't bring them back. But I think bringing Crowe and Gosling back for another LA set caper, it's perfect. I think it writes itself.
Yeah. Did you go and see it when it was out? Or were you one of those people like...
No, I came to it late. I came to it
yeah.
like a hangover. Like I was hungover on Sunday. I was like, okay, let's give Nice Guys a go. And it was a blast. I had so much fun with it.
Me too. I didn't even know it existed, I don't think, until someone picked it for Dream Sequel on the podcast. It was Tom Mellier, I think, wasn't it?
I told you to watch
Rye
it.
Lane. Yeah, you told me to watch it before that day. If that is true.
Yeah, I was a cool person. I went and saw it in the cinema, so I haven't let the world down with this one.
I'm sorry.
I don't see how it misfired so massively.
I don't know how.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know why it didn't connect with people. Maybe it's the title was too vague. It needed like a. But even though the title, it works.
I have to say
I don't know what it was.
In the opening weekend, this is something I found out. In the opening weekend, The Nice Guys was defeated by Captain America Civil War in its third week of release, Neighbours 2 Sorority Rising, and the Angry Birds movie all beat it on the weekend.
Criminal. I've seen that Angry Birds movie. My son made me watch that. It's criminal that would beat this.
I would have grounded my son if it was like, punished. You need to learn consequences.
This is the same boy that says Attack of the Clones is like one of his favourite films as well.
Yeah,
Nathan, so
his favourite Star Wars is Attack of the Clones. I've failed as a parent, clearly.
You're being trolled by your own family.
I know.
This is incredible.
I know.
So there's no coming back from that. I would have thought Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe, Shane Black would be enough to get at least a sequel, or make enough money to make a sequel. The fact it only made apparently like $62 million worldwide on a 50 budget.
Insane.
And the marketing was big as well. I remember a lot of the marketing, they were on all the shows, Graham Norton, Jonathan Ross, whatever, they went them on all. And I'm actually devastated it's never got a sequel, and I still hold out that one day we'll get there. Because I think they could do like a 70s, and then we can do an 80s, and if they want to drag it out 90s or whatever. I've read like the producers like it just didn't do enough money. It just didn't make business sense to do another one, especially with what Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling get paid now, I guess. Yeah. But it is a great film. But do you not think the storyline is a bit convoluted? I can't say that word.
Convoluted.
Convoluted.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it that's appropriate for the genre. I think the neo-noir template that it's working with is, it's in the spirit of like Chinatown, Long Goodbye, Big Sleep. Even like, PTA was playing around with that, with like Inherent Vice. It's the idea that like you just meet a bunch of characters. The plot doesn't even really matter. It's just what takes you to set piece to introduce a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
So I think that may be what worked against it, is that because the plot is inherently convoluted, like that kind of noir, which is in sync with the genre, people might find it hard to follow. Whereas like it's not really about following the plot; it's just about having fun. Really, the plot itself doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's just it's kind of a hangout movie, really.
Yeah,
it's even more confusing that I missed this because I love a noir and I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And so, like, Shane Black coming back to do another noir, I should have been all over this movie, and I don't know why. I wasn't.
I know why. You had a young child who wasn't sleeping.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like 2016, wasn't it? It came out. So, yeah, I'd slept for a month. Like, that's what I like. Yeah, that's probably why.
You didn't know what was going on. It was fine.
That is very true. But it's incredible. Like, you're absolutely right. It deserves a sequel. It really does.
What are your ideas for a sequel? Have you got anything? I'm guessing Gosling, Crowe back. Bring back Shane Black as writer and director?
Have to be. Yeah, I think it has to be Shane Black. He gets that genre. I think he knows how to do that kind of convoluted noir in a way which is accessible. Because I think sometimes people try to do that and they get lost. I think a good example of that is Under the Silver Lake.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Is that Andrew Garfield one?
Andrew Garfield, yeah. It's a mess. I thought it was a total disaster. But I think he knows how to do a sort of convoluted noir, but it's still fun. And I think it's kind of thing. I think what you need to do as a strong selling point, like you bring in like a Christoph Waltz as like a bad guy, you get like a big antagonist.
Yeah.
I think what the tricky thing with that is that you never really were aware of who the bad guy was. I think that's the thing with.
Do you think that was a problem?
I think that's a big issue.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you never really understood what the big antagonizing force was. So I think that's how you'd iron that out. Just give the audience a bad guy. And then you can go on like a big sort of circuitous journey, but we know what the end goal is, who the big boss is.
Kind of like Lethal Weapons, you always know who the big bad guy is going to get. Yeah. I want to see Christopher Waltz as a bad guy in a Nice Guys film now.
Oh, perfect. Ideal for that dialogue, or like a Walton Goggins, just someone who knows how to do like razor sharp dialogue.
Yeah.
Goggins would have fun with it. I think Goggins would be, I think, though, Russell Crowe and Gosling, just again, we talked about chemistry quite a lot on this one. Their chemistry is so good. But I think Gosling could have chemistry with a fish. Honestly, every film he's in, I think he's incredible. And whatever style of movie you put in front of him, he smashes. Even like The Notebook, which on paper is not my kind of film, but don't tell my wife, I quite enjoy now. But,
never seen it.
No, it's a good one. It's got some good casts in it. Who's the woman? Not Amy Adams. It's the other one.
Rachel McAdams.
That's the one. I was close. But yeah, great chemistry again. Great. You make you cry at the end, if that's what you want from a film.
I think the reason I've never seen it is I think guys only see The Notebook when they're shown it by their partner. I don't believe any guys watched it solo.
At uni, we used to live in different houses, 3 doors apart, me and Rich.
Yeah.
And I would spend a lot of time in the more manly house, I would say. In my house, I live in more women. I came back one evening and I had lived with 3 girls and they were all on the sofa just bawling their eyes out. And I walked in, I was like, nah, I'm not having anything to do with that. And I walked straight back to the other house. I was like
Principal Skinner when he walks in the brothel.
Yeah.
No, not
the granddad.
Grandpa Simpson.
Yeah.
Just walks in and out.
Nope.
Brilliant.
I was like, what were you watching last night? Oh, we're watching The Notebook. And then it took me years to watch it. And then my wife, we do this thing when we pick a film each every month that we have to watch. And she picked The Notebook. And it was, it was good. It was better than I thought it was. And it is also very sad at the end. So I can see now why the girls cried a lot. So
he was mansplaining. It's like he's actually the son of John Cassavetes. He was a much more significant figure in cinema. They're like, shut up, go to the man house.
No, I didn't do that.
About right.
I didn't do that. But The Nice Guys is just, I think about it most weeks. What's your favourite part of The Nice Guys?
I think it's the toilet scene. I can't remember the context. Is it when Russell Crowe breaks Gosling's arm and he screams? What's the scream sequence? I think his scream is like a Mel Brooks, not Mel Brooks, Mel Blanc level scream.
Yeah.
Do you remember that bit? I mean, I can't remember what's the sequence where he screams?
Yeah, but
it's when he breaks his arm.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
But that scream is just perfect. It's a perfect like comedy scream.
Yeah. What's your favorite bit, Rich?
Oh, it's the toilet. It's every time. It's the toilet scene. Always. It's perfect. And I also quite like the bit where they fall down the big. They like kind of fall down the big hill thing, don't they?
The whole party scene's great.
That party sequence is great.
I just love how crap they are. That's the way. I really like a movie where the main characters are not cool. Like they succeed by accident, and I kind of love that. I love it where they're hopeless and rubbish and then just at the end when you think they just cocked everything up, they kind of pull it all together. Like, I just love it. I really do.
Yeah.
Isn't that bit when they're doing the protest? There's that silent protest out on the steps and like Gosling steps on someone's hand. I love that bit.
Yeah.
There's so many little bits like that. They're just
the party
perfect.
bit's great. The bit when they go up the elevator and they get to the hotel room, there's all dead people and they just look around and like, ah. And then they come back. makes me laugh a lot. Do you think we've actually now missed the boat though? Will there ever be a sequel to The Nice Guys?
No, I think if there is, it won't work. I just think things simmer down. I think it'll be like the 4th season of Arrested Development, or like what I imagine the Community movie is going to be like. I just think there's a window for these things, and when things go too long, what happens is I think people are so happy that it happens, and they're having so much fun on set that they lose editorial vision. Yeah, I think the more fun you're having on set, the less fun people are having in theaters.
Oh.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
That's sad. Because, what about as a TV series? Still no to that, if that happens?
I mean, it could work, but I think getting Gosling for a series...
Yeah, and Crow.
Big, yeah.
If they redid it with different actors, I keep throwing things at you. Different actors. How would that make you feel?
Because Gosling's the special sauce.
Here's the special sauce.
It's just the joy, because you're watching him. It's insane that he's putting it off. I think that's what's so fun about it. It's like, how is Ryan Gosling delivering one of the strongest comedic performances of like that decade?
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
I love him. I think he's great. Give him all the Oscars.
And also the thing, I like an aesthetic when a character is injured over the course of a movie. I love that.
Okay.
I love a character with like a nose bandage for like half of the film. I just think that's cool. Like a hand in a cast. I love that.
And he gets more and more injured as the movie goes on. Like he breaks the window at the start and cuts himself, doesn't he? And like it just gets worse from there.
Oh, that's such a good scene. Sorry.
That's great.
That's a great cut. When he just looks at his arm and then you see he's about to pass out and then you're in the ambulance. That's wonderful.
Those were Nathan Darcy Roberts' Unequal Sequels. 3 very good picks. It's a very good collection, I think, there.
It was a strong week. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and I would say really grown-up choices. Like,
yes.
Like Before Sunset, it comes up a lot as best sequel. It gets picked a few times. I think we've had it twice this season.
And
it is a brilliant sequel. Joker, Folie à Deux, which I think is going to come up a lot now. This is going to overtake Jurassic World Dominion as like the new sequel everyone hates.
Yes, it was a period, literally when we recorded this, it was just after Joker had been released. It was very tender, it was very raw, and he really hated it. And Nathan's a big film guy, so for him to say all that, then it must have really made him angry. And The Nice Guys, which is one of the correct answers for what is your dream sequel, right?
Again, it's come up, I think, at least once before, if not a couple of times before.
Yeah, definitely. I think Tom Mellier picked it last season.
Picked it, definitely. And it is a very good answer. It's one we need a sequel for.
I'd love a sequel to The Nice Guys so much.
We need an 80s, 90s and noughties sequel to The Nice Guys.
Yeah, the world would be a better place if we had a sequel to that film.
Definitely.
I do love that he picked Joker, though, because it is terrible as well.
Yeah.
We've reviewed it. We hated it very much. And like you said, I think it's going to pop up quite a lot this year. And Before Sunset, his love for Before Sunset is, well, everyone loves Before Sunset. Is that our most picked best sequel now? It must be getting up there.
I think it's close. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it must be. I don't know. I haven't run the maths. I haven't run the numbers, but maybe I'll
I think it might be. I think maybe 4 or 5 times now. So it's going to be. We should give it an award to Richard Linklater soon.
Yes, we should.
Maybe when he gets to 10, I think that'll be the point we start giving out badges. We can afford badges, right? Gold. Fake gold badges.
Fake gold, not real gold.
When I say, yellow.
We'll send one to Richard Linklater for, a little award for most picked best sequel. Or something like that.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that. He seems like that kind of guy.
We could do, when we get to, the end of our 10th series, we could do, an Oscars, but for sequels.
Yeah.
We could call it the Unequalies or something.
Well, that writes itself when you put it like that.
And we could do an award ceremony for the best, worst and dream sequels.
We should do that every year.
We shouldn't we?
But that sounds like a lot of planning and prep. And that is not something I would say we're good at.
No.
I mean, we're getting better.
I think we're pretty good at the ideas. We're just not very good at following through.
We haven't got time. If we got time, we would do it.
Well, I'm about to have a lot more time on my hands.
Oh, okay, so. We're doing the Unequalies.
Unequalies, yeah, okay.
Which is just sequels, okay? And prequels? Yes. I think that's the best way of doing it.
Okay, but people don't often pick prequels on this, do they? So
fair point. It's sequels. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll email all our former guests and get them to vote for their best sequels of the year.
Okay. All right.
That sounds like a lot of planning.
That does sound like a lot of work. I was just I was just going to go back and see which movies have been picked the most.
But I want like the Oscars.
Oh,
anyway,
right,
we're going off to planning. We're meant to be talking about Nathan and how brilliant his choices were, and how such a brilliant comedian is. So if you haven't seen Nathan Darcy Roberts do his thing, go check him out. You can check his clips on YouTube. Like we said, you can go check his podcast. There will be film that he does with Heidi Regan, who we had on last season, and Stuart Laws. It's a very funny film podcast, very unserious, which is really strange because Nathan is a big film fan. Like, he knows his shit really well. And he kept naming films and we can haven't seen that one. Haven't seen that one. But we're going to try and see some more of the films he mentions.
Yeah. I like it when that happens though, because then I can go and watch them.
Exactly. So thank you for Nathan for coming on the podcast. You were brilliant. Go check out his stuff. That was season 7, episode 10. Next week is season 7, episode 11, which is the last official interview episode of this series, because then we've got the big all singing, all dancing Christmas special.
Exciting.
So get prepared for that. Exciting. We're recording it next weekend.
Oh, is it next weekend? Oh my God, yes, it is.
Yeah.
15th. Wow. I've got better finish doing what I've got to do.
You're doing great on it. And I've got nothing else to say, but thank you for listening. Rich, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, of course.
There we go.
Of course I have. So if you've just tuned in for this episode, because you're a big fan of Nathan, and who can blame you, you need to hit the auto download button, hit the subscribe button, and it will drop into your pod player of choice at least once a week, if not twice at the moment, because there's loads more episodes. We have interviews with some brilliant people. So go back and listen to those. Like I say, hit the subscribe button and you'll get us every week. If you really, really love us, get yourself onto anotherslice.com/unequal sequel, where for just $2.99 a month. Yes, you did hear that right. It's only $2.99 a month. You can become one of our super special slicers. And that means you'll get extra podcasts, Disenfranchised, where we talk about films that should have had a franchise but didn't. You get Box Set Mentality, where we watch a box set of movies and talk about that. And also you'll get extra bits for all of our interview episodes called the Sequel Sessions. You can also join us on social media. We're in all the things, even the Bad Place, which we are in the process of winding down and leaving, because nobody likes that bad one owned by Elmo What's-His-Face. We don't like that one. So we're leaving that one. But type in Unequal Sequel, you'll find us, send us a message, let us know what you thought of Nathan's picks, because we loved them. And we'll read out any of your comments in the end of month roundup. You can also email us, unequalsequel@hotmail.com, or you can go onto our website, which is unequalsequel.com, and you can find us around there somewhere too. And yeah, that's about it, really.
It's good. I'm looking forward to that website being a nice hub that Rich is going to create.
It's one of these plans I have in my head that just hasn't come to fruition. There's going to be sequel news, there's going to be articles, there's going to be all sorts of stuff. It's going to be a one-stop shop for sequel-based goodness.
Coming 2027.
Yeah,
right.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. Yes, go check out Another Slice. That's a lot of fun stuff. The chat with Nathan is another good one this week. I was about to say something. Oh, yes. Thank you to everyone that has tagged us ourselves into the Spotify Wrapped 2024. It's very nice to see that we have Spotify listeners and we're in the top 10, top 5, and sometimes the top 1.
I know, right?
Of people's most listened to podcasts on Spotify this year. We do really appreciate that, and it is a lovely feeling to have every year, because every year it surprises me, to be honest. So thank you very much.
Maybe a little bit emotional, to be fair.
I know. Without you guys, we're nothing, to be honest. So thank you very much. I like if Apple and everyone else did their ones, but I think it's only, I mean, Apple Music does one, but it doesn't do podcasts.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because I didn't use Spotify, so I don't know what mine are.
Mine was Empire, Parent in Hell, even though I have no kids. What was the other one? Us. We were in there, obviously.
Yeah.
Was it Smartless? Or was it The Wolf and Owl? One of those two. Anyway, Good podcasts. I've got nothing else to say, so it's a bye-bye to me. I'm talking too much now, so it's a goodbye from him.
Bye!
See you in the next one. See you this one. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
voice that he gave out then on the bye.
I know. I'm surprised with Nathan you didn't bring up the whole that he's written for Trying, even though you are
I did the intro.
I know, but I meant to his face.
I know. I didn't realise. I don't think...
You kept a professional manner.
Yeah, let's go with that.
You kept it together.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Trying is one of the best things on telly.